I think we're in the NIL era of real estate where everyone needs to earn everyone's business.
If you're within 3 feet of me, we're probably talking about real estate, much to my family's chagrin. But here's the thing. Most people see 7% rates and freeze. I see opportunity. They're waiting for the perfect deal, and well, I've analyzed thousands of them, and perfect just doesn't exist. So I talk to operators across every asset class, flippers, multifamily syndicators, note investors, and whatever else is working. No sales pitches allowed, just real lessons from people actually doing it. I'm Ed Matthews, and this is Real Estate Underground.
Greetings and salutations, Real Estate Undergrounders. Buckle up, people. This is going to be a fun one. With me today is Rob Bergeron. Rob, I am so grateful that you carved out time in your incredibly busy schedule. I discovered you from your newsletter, the Daily Bergeron. Thank you for that, by the way. And also from OffMarket.deals, but I know you run several companies, and I'm going to let you tell that story in a minute. But so first off, before we really get into this, I am grateful that everybody listens to this show. I'm grateful for all the comments because it allows me to find people like Rob, actually, that are able to come on the show. It also gives me ideas on topics that you folks are interested in. And if one thing I do ask, though, and it's interesting, my folks here tell me that about 75% of you who listen to the show don't actually subscribe. You find me ad hoc. And I'll tell you what, one thing that does help us is if you do subscribe on whatever platform you hear us on, that does help that does help the show grow. And I'm certainly grateful either way, but thank you for listening. And with that, Rob, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you.
I wish they could hear the first 24 minutes of our conversation because I am so fired up. I'm glad I recorded most of it. Maybe we'll share it. Who knows? But for now, we'll just stick to the show. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. No, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Fellow New Englander?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, Rob, for those folks who haven't discovered you, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm Rob Bergeron. I've been calling myself the tilapia of realtors. And I usually don't even mention I'm a realtor because I think there's a lot of realtors, but I do a lot of stuff. I own a brokerage as well, but I don't know. I just really, the tilapia realtors like focus on real estate investing. Malcolm Gladwell had this book or whatever. I don't know which one it was, but basically talked about how no one wanted to do mergers and acquisitions, divorces, but the Jewish people were like, yo, we'll do it. And it ended up being the most lucrative law to practice. So that's why all the firms in New York are all Jewish firms. And I look at it like this. With real estate investing, hey, no one really wanted to work with them because they're not loyal or whatever. But I found if you just bring a lot of value and solve a lot of problems for them, they are pretty loyal. You have volume, you're right. And so, yeah, I catered to them. And there's a lot about repeat business. And then I just kept on finding more ways to serve them. And then you just built,
Yeah, it's not a loyalty thing. It's a coin operation thing. As a friend of mine used to say, we're coin operated. If we can create a relationship that becomes valuable to both of us, then that relationship continues and grows. So Winner Realty, property partner, OffMarket.deals. There's probably others we haven't talked about, but let's pick a path and see where it goes. I'm curious about, you're based in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
But you have, one of the interesting things about your perspective in the market is you operate all across the U.S. with either through your partnerships or through your businesses directly. And I'm curious, what are you seeing in the U.S. from a market trend perspective? And I know it varies from region to region, but what are you seeing out there?
A lot of doom and gloom.
True.
And I write my newsletter every morning and it goes out at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. So I read the news, aggregate the news a lot. And it's really sad out there, but I'm in Louisville and we're just very fortunate. We're like a turtle, slow to rise, slow to fall. But we're top 3 in rental appreciation and we're appreciating 4 to 5% every year. So we're top in the country there too. And we're just getting a ton of industrial stuff. And we're within 6 hours of 60% of the country. So tourism's great with Bourbon, Red River Gorge, climbing, the second best climbing in the world. And
horses,
horse racing, basketball. We're really well positioned. It's a beautiful state, very affordable to visit relative to Chicago or Nashville, less touristy. We're number 2 in the country for independent restaurant scene in the whole country. And we've four sports museums, Muhammad Ali, Louisville Slugger. Now we have this urban bourbon stuff. It's very cool
That's
culture.
right. Ali is from there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Diane Sawyer lived in my neighborhood.
No
growing
kidding.
up. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
With regard to the market, right? You mentioned industrial, and I was talking with another guest, Gino Barbaro, actually. You're talking about, yeah, me too. And so we were talking about the repatriation of manufacturing and how flex industrial has become a big thing, and it's become a big thing in our part of the world too, up here in the Northeast. And I'm curious, are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, like we just got connected to this, like, I think it's the Pacific Rail or whatever, but like we just connected from the West Coast for commercial rail lines. Yeah, we have the number. Okay, so USPS is headquartered here too. So everything ships to us and ships out. So we have the second best freshest seafood in the whole country. Just really bizarre stuff. I think the industrial spaces like that used to be safe are safe still, but I think like things are moving. And like what excites me right now is energy, water, land.
When you say energy, are you talking about nuclear power feeding data centers or something else?
So right now we're working with this company called Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy is really cool because they started Bloom Energy, which is natural gas, green energy, burns clean. They started it for their crypto miners. They needed more energy for their crypto mines. But then all these data centers came up and said, we could use you too for energy. So we work with them right now, but we do have a horse in the nuclear like world, and that'll be awesome. It's crazy. It'll be out in 2027, first quarter, bless you. And it's a small nuclear reactor, and they put it a mile underground.
Yeah.
And it'll be a game changer. It's really cool. And this is crazy. Basically, China's going crazy with energy. And these 5, 6, 7 companies or whatever, they go to the White House and meet, and then they change the rules, and then they all go back and play by the same rules because we're so afraid of just falling behind there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how rapid it's moving because it wasn't beginning of 2027 like 4 months ago. It was like at least 2028 beginning for sure. And now it's just moving so fast.
Yeah, I mean, there are 94, I think, last count, active nuclear reactors in the U.S., and we need 4x that.
Peter Thiel bought the only private nuclear facility in the entire country, and it's here at the Duke at Kentucky.
How about that? Did I read right that Microsoft bought 3 Mile Island in Pittsburgh? I think they did. Somebody did.
Can I tell a cool story about 3 Mile
Absolutely.
Island? All right. My dad said he's the biggest failure of all of his cousins. I beg to differ. But one of his cousins, so in my family, we have some cool generational stuff. My dad's cousin built all the robots that cleaned out 3 Mile Island.
Really?
Yeah, did it so no one would get radiation stuff like it did on. That's so cool.
It is very cool. And now it's actually a functioning nuclear facility again. And I'm pretty sure, I want to say it was Microsoft that either bought a portion of it or bought the entire facility.
It was. Yeah. It's a whole new world out there. It's really exciting. I'm working on this really cool data center project. I kind of want to maybe inspire a little hope for people. Because, so I send my morning emails Monday through Friday. But we had this big announcement of this $5 billion data center in Oldham County, which is very well-to-do, if you will. And on a Saturday, I sent an email out and said, hey, guys, I'm seeing this intersection between data and energy, and I want to be a part of it. If you're in the space, hit me up. If you're not in the space, hit me up. We'll learn together. And this guy, Mark, reached out to me. And he already was like part of a data center project in Texas, Odessa. And it was, so he already had some experience, but we just started talking. He had been reading my morning email for 5 years and never said a thing. A lot of times I send those out and it feels like I'm shouting in the void, but like, all right.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
A motivated seller just filled out your web form. If you call back within 5 minutes, you're nearly 4 times more likely to get that seller appointment. But delay your follow-up by even just 10 minutes? Forget it. You're toast. Ella Vista Connect calls that lead back in 60 seconds, qualifies them, and schedules your meeting. Find out how much slow follow-up is costing you. Free calculator at ellavista.com/underground.
Yeah. And it's funny, only if the numbers are true
from a radio perspective and they translate to our part of the world, it's 1 or 2% of your audience are the ones you hear from.
Yeah. And most of them are just telling me like I like that track, the music I picked for the day, which I love. It makes me feel good that they're like resonating with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so he reached out, and then this is so cool. Okay. So I told you before we got on air, basically I own this company. It's now called OffMarket.deals, but it used to be called the Louisville Network. And essentially what it was is I said, yo, wholesaler, I said, hey, go reach out to me with comps, send me the address and Ben back now. I'll get it back to you as quickly as possible. Never ganked their deal. So I built a lot of trust. And I said, hey, usually be like, hey, if you get that under, I've got a buyer for you. And then my weightlifting partner, we were in the hot tub. He's like, yo, that website you've been talking about building, I built it for you. So basically I got all the wholesalers to give me their buyers list because of that goodwill I had built. We combined those lists with my also dope mega list. And then I said, hey, I'd only charge $2,000 if I bring the buyer. So they would submit their deal, it'd go out to my buyers list. And then first year I made $42,000 off of it for you. It was awesome. And now it's OffMarket.deals. We're national. We have way more tech, way more cool stuff. But basically the big part of this is I united the tribes together, the wholesalers who were working against each other and thought they couldn't work together or were competitive. But now let's create a tool that all can get more margins, get your deals sold, higher clip. And then we also have a contract to close. And we just get rid of a lot of the friction. So I did the same thing with my business partner, Mark, in data centers. Basically, we got to the top of the mountain, looked around and was like, there's no one up at the top of the mountain. So what we did is we climbed back down and started just researching who's the best at what they do and who's the next best, like who's coming up.
Yeah.
And I reached out to one of my fraternity brothers, and he was the adult in the room, so he couldn't plan parties. And he's an architect, very well known. And he had mentioned about doing an LED platinum fraternity house. And so I slid into his DMs like, hey, Ben, I'm working on this weird project where I want to build consumer trust. Could we jump on a call and we could talk about it? I remember he talked about this thing. He's like, sure, we can talk tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I tell him about these data center projects we have and what our vision was. He plugged us into this company called HKS. HKS is one of the largest engineering companies in the world. They do the SoFi Stadium for the Rams. They're doing the Commanders Stadium coming up in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And it just so happened 3 months earlier, they had opened up their data center division. And so we got plugged into that dude, Tony, who's awesome. And so basically, we had taken all these meetings and we were able to leverage them or whoever was already working with us. And we found a way to shrink the footprints of data centers by 92%. And it's a closed loop. We use our own water. It's 40 gallons per year per tank. And we bring our own energy with the Bloom or the nuclear option, which will be live in 2027. And we can put them anywhere. And our timelines are quicker than everyone else. And our goal was to be the good neighbor data center. And so we researched everyone to find out, like, how can we be better? And we brought all these things to the feet of HKS and said, help us put it together, engineering. And now we're building the institutional standard data center, in my opinion, of the future here on Earth before it goes up into space. There's going to be elements of space that has to come down. And one thing that's cool about us, since we're trying to be good neighbors, we build in manufacturing into the business model. So we bring jobs with our data centers. We're not false hopes. And so we don't have the noise because we use submergent cooling and we're not loud. Everything that they hate, we literally try to address because we wanted to be good stewards of it. And no one else was trying to do it and connect those dots. They were just all putting up those big boxes that everyone hated. And crazy. And so just a shout into the world in email led to us maybe making the industry standard for data centers here on Earth, universally across the whole world. And we think we solved it better. And so our goal is when people learn about our data center, that people will say, if we have to have a data center in our city, it better be one of those good neighbor data centers. Damn, it should. And not only that, we think most of our business will be retrofits of the bad neighbor data centers. Because not only can we shrink their footprints down, but that means we can float them all the way back out and still be good neighbors. So why build new data centers when we can just augment the ones you already have, which already have permits? It just solves a lot of problems. Yeah.
Can't wait.
So we're uniting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're ready to handle the pitchforks because if they have something, we'll be better next time we come around because we'll figure out a way to solve it. and we can bury them, and we use a lot that heat reuse for farming and agriculture. We're really working with farmers because farmers are getting screwed right now. They've got the assets, they've got the land, and they're losing their farms to what? To taxes or now that I don't know. We're working on that too. There's just a lot of cool things, and when you unite causes towards one direction, people get in line and want to be a part of big things. And if you sing the right song, they will
dance
or dance or whatever. And the right people find you. They reach out. They'll respond to the email or join the newsletter and just find a way to resonate. And it's like, yeah, let's hop on a call, find out what synergies we have. And people, I haven't been putting it out lately, but I have you can book me. And I'd just be like mentally like, oh, I got to put my shoes on. And so I can walk around the backyard. I don't know, but I think there's too much non-collaboration in nearly every business. And I think that people just aligned. We talked about alignment with our stuff before that we recorded.
Absolutely. And it's pretty.
You're scratching a problem that I have, and we have infinite supply of what would make your thing,
which is my problem. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just awesome. And it would have never happened if we weren't shouting to the universe.
Absolutely. Right? And as you were talking, I was thinking, I own a domain that I don't use that would be very useful to you that I'm more than happy to give you. So we'll talk about that offline before.
That's cool. We're really excited about the data centers, and like I said, that aligns with the energy in the water. So these are horizontals. So that Bloom Energy, that company I talked about with natural gas.
Yep.
You can pay nothing to put that anywhere because BlackRock will pay for it because they want the residuals for the rest of time. So let's let the average consumer get in on those horizontals, those residuals. Not let BlackRock, let us do. Let the average person get in on. All right, we're just really excited. And when you bring the energy and water, and you have a data center anchor, master communities can be built out, deliberate communities, intentional cities. I think rural America is about to be on a come up. Kentucky is on a huge come up. We're just so affordable. I don't know. Very excited about a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't want to get in your way. Keep going.
Well, okay. So just one thing that's been working really well for me, and I guess I can do this for anyone in your audience, if you just connect me to one person in your network that you trust. But I'm a big proponent on shooting your shot, just collectively.
Amen.
Yeah, literally the way I met David Greene and connected with David Greene, the former host of Bigger Pockets, is I'm tenacious on everything. I write my morning email. You know what I do? I take out all my whatever and I put it on Bigger Pockets subreddit. And so people find me. And so they were hearing Bigger Pockets and they didn't say Louisville, Kentucky, but they heard Louisville, Kentucky when he was talking. And so I had 6 people from California, 1 person from Illinois reach out to me. And I said, finally, I was like, Illinois man, how did you hear about me? And they're like, oh, I heard Bigger Pockets. I heard Louisville, went to Bigger Pockets, found you because you're the only person who posts ever. And that's how we connected. So then I was like, when I talked to him too, I was waiting outside for Tyler Childers at this very small venue. Tyler Childers was like the house band when I was in college. Same with Sunday Best. Crazy life. I called David Greene and said, yo, you've generated a ton of money for me. I'd love to work with you, bring some business back to you. So we went out to California to host a happy hour with David Greene. Yep. And I brought, 16, 18 million in off-market deals. I brought property management. I brought title. I brought lenders. I brought everyone, Louisville to them. Kind of like Carvana. I applied that model there. And we had a happy hour. It was great. Mike Butler was there as the property management. He wrote Landlording on Autopilot.
Loved his book, Landlording.
Mike's out of Louisville.
Autopilot.
I work with Mike. He's out of Louisville. Louisville is just like this mecca for all these brains in real estate. And we have this one attorney, Harry Borders, who learned it all and then empowered all of us how to do it. And we're just, you go to a different market and we're just line years ahead. But all these people are creating and talking to each other. Very collaborative market relative to others, where they're more closer to the chest on things.
Yeah. It's amazing what you referred to yourself, I think it was before we hit record, as a super connector. It's amazing what happens in your world when it's the old Zig Ziglar thing, right? If you connect enough people with what they need, they will eventually connect you with what you need, right? And that is 100% true. And you are living proof of that, my friend. So in terms of the market, the real estate market, right? The world is shifting completely, and it's shifting in any number of ways, right? You've got You've got the interest rate issues, which I think are less of an issue than most people,
Sure.
in that historically we're right down the middle. It's fine, right?
Sure.
Then you've got AI impinging upon everything, and there is a lot of snake oil and a little bit of reality. And you've got the market rotation in terms of 3 years ago, 4 years ago, multifamily was white hot, and it's cooled off, but I think it's cooled off in the right way, right? It's settled back into historical means. I think the same thing is happening with single family here in the Northeast. And I would love your input on that. What's your crystal ball? What do you see coming over the next, say, 3 years?
CBRE said that the number one asset class to invest in Louisville, Kentucky is multifamilies, and they announced that
today.
last week. Yeah, today.
Really?
Yeah, because we have like even right now, which is technically like a seller's market collectively.
Sure.
We have less supply that technically we're at 2.5 months, which still is a seller's market in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're
2.5
we're
months.
very
Not a
even.
lot.
Yeah, very even. And we're just so affordable. And now, I don't know why, but New York Times, Wall Street Journal in the last few weeks have both done very affordable to be a millionaire in Kentucky. And it's, I don't know. The other one was like top 10 least amount of money you have to live comfortably in Louisville was in the top 10 or whatever. I don't know. It's going to be weird because there's so many disrupting things coming, like automations for selling real estate. I mean, and automations for building houses, like 3D printing. And we do 3D printing with our data centers too. We're working with the largest 3D printing company in the world, and we connect them with HKS. So we have a lot of cool things that we're connecting. But like 3D printing, it's not viable to do a neighborhood unless you have 50 houses. I don't know, but it is worth it doing 3D printed steel relative to lumber if you have 40 houses. So, and I admit, okay, so the thing I was going to appeal to your audience that I can teach that person in their network, I forgot where I was going. But one thing that I've been doing is my clients, I say, yo, hit me up if you're looking for something. So they reach out to me, give me their iBox, they get their proof of funds, pre-approval, whatever. And then I'm sending letter of intents out. And I'm like, I think I'm an avid AI user. I don't know how to code. I think I can vibe code. I think that's what I'm doing sometimes. But essentially, they give me their buy box. I find everything that meets it. I come in at the terms they want. If someone says yes, cool, we move forward. If they say no, we don't. But I look at it as planting seeds. In postcards, you're spending money to send stuff in. It's a 1.1% hit rate. So I have a 2.1% hit rate, no money attached.
So let me back that up. I want to dig into that a little bit. So you're sending blind letters of intent?
No, they're targeted. It's based, my clients.
I mean, unsolicited, not blind.
These are listed properties. So they're like trying to get offers. These are for sale by owners who are trying to get offers. And my logic is I want to hit them when time and circumstance meet. And I don't know, plant the seed now and then see who comes back in the next 6 to 8 weeks because things change. And so it's important for me. So I try to find someone for each asset class so I get a touch. But I'm also a realtor. So I also send a one-pager about what our brokerage looks like, what our structures are financially, because I want to be someone's second option. At least they have that one soft touch for me that if something were to happen with their brokerage or there was a merger with PE and it didn't feel good to them inside, or they stopped seeing the value. I think we're in the NIL era of real estate where everyone needs to earn everyone's business. And I think I'm probably not one of them.
Isn't that unique?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very well equipped because I have so much AI abilities and different ways to touch people. The reason the LOI is so cool as me owning the brokerage is I'm touching only people that have listings, only people with production. So that's exactly who I want. But to lean into the Winner Realty a little bit, I think the market's shifting. You asked earlier, like, what's it going to look like? And so for me, I'm like looking at realtors and maybe a big box brokerage, and they're all trying to do the same one trick in a market that doesn't really want that trick right now. So no one's really talking to them. And that stinks. But at Winner Realty, we empower our agents. Learn assignments. You can legally call them outright, but learn how to assign. Learn what a novation is. Learn how to do offer seller financing, or, hey, let me list this as a lease option. Like, they need to have these tools. And so I built out this thing called Rob's Brain, which they can call or text, send screenshots to, whatever. And it has all those things in there. I created guides for all of them because I wanted to empower them to make money in other ways besides waiting for a deal to close every 36 days.
Yep.
So then I built out this thing called Winner Services. Agents at Winner Realty, they can go and for free get their real estate license and get paid on that. Winner Realty agents can get paid on commercial lending now. Winner Realty agents can get paid for oil and gas. Winner Realty agents can get paid for selling our water treatment center, BioPure. They can get paid on sourcing data center land. There's just like all kinds of things. And so the goal is to keep on adding stuff to that. And we were kind of talking about it a little bit before. I'm worried about my friends losing their jobs and whatever. And so I wanted to have something like when they're stressed, say, hey, at these 10 things, read them all, see which one you gravitate towards. Driving for dollars can be one of those things. Gig economy stuff, really, I don't know. So I don't know. I like to keep creating every day. I do my systems, 3 or 4 things, putting Realtor Rob out into the world.
Yep.
But then I just kind of go wherever I want, create. I make a lot of music, go on walks. I sun a lot. Just whatever feels right.
Yeah, but the 3 or 4 things every day is what moves the needle, right?
Yep, consistency.
So, Rob, I'm curious about what gets you out of bed on Monday morning. I can't wait for the answer. Obviously, you've done very well. You don't go to work because you have to. You go to work. You get to go to
No,
work.
I have to go to work. We all have our foibles. I gotta earn. But
it's not just that.
No,
right?
No, I'm aligned with what I want in life when I wake up on Monday. My brokerage, Winner Realty, we donate 1% of net profits to Hand in Hand. Hand in Hand.
Tell me all about it.
It's a nonprofit. My mentor, Harry Borders, that attorney that's empowered everybody with all these cool skills for investing. This is police. He said, yo, Rob, do you want to go on a trip with me to go build a house? And I had kind of ended it with a business partner because I realized they were working on some side projects and not the main project and whatever. But I was kind of in the dumps and I was like, you know what? Sure. So I went and it was like 10,000 total for the group to build a house for a family. The family helped other families build houses. All they had to do was bring the land and do these things to validate themselves. And we put up a house in 3 days. And it really inspired me. Like one day I was in the bus after working and I checked my email and one of my off-market deals had sold and I made $2,000. And the average Belizean person makes $1,900 a year. And I was like, wow, I need them to be able to have enough time to sit down and think of, whoa, what are other ways I can create and earn? And I can help do that for those kids and those families by helping put a house in there. So I've been a part of 5 houses now. But the agents at my brokerage have the opportunity to offer match my 1% as well. And so the goal is, and I know this leads to one of your later questions, but I'll just answer it now. My legacy, I don't have any kids. I'm not married or anything like that. And so my goal is I want my business to be able to afford one of those houses every single month in perpetuity forever. And that's $10,000 a month forever. And I know the nonprofit will be good stewards of that money. I know that the people building the houses, the families themselves, and the people that have to help build houses to get their house, they're good stewards of it. And it felt really right to me. Yeah. And
repeat the name of the charity again, please.
Hand in Hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
Based
awesome. Here in the States or based in Belize?
Here in Louisville, they've been operating for 25 years. A lot of high school student groups go out there and build the houses, youth groups, whatever, but people all over the country go. You can book a week and they have a house for you, security, driver, people that help with the build that can build it themselves. So you're there to, we could all get nail guns and just do it. But no, you're there to bang a hammer and get the experience. So yeah, it's a great thing and it feels good. And my agents resonate with it. It's on all of our signs, the logo, because they have 25 years. People were like, I know what that is. And so I wake up and like when I try to earn, I know that my money is aligned with what I want to support, not only just helping people buy and sell houses, but put people in houses.
Right on. That's awesome. So you've mentioned your mentors a couple of times during this conversation. I'm curious about the best advice you've ever got. I know that's a big question. And who gave it to you?
I'm going to parlay or just step aside on that one a little bit. This thing came to my head. I just felt like I had to say, there's this book called The Power of Moments. And it's not a business book. It's not about it. It's short. It's short audio. And really the beginning is what got me. It trailed off at the end. So really focus on the first beginning. But it was about how we live our life in plateaus and not enough mountains. And it's about what are the small, simple things we can do to create more mountains for people that we love in our life, for ourselves, whatever. And for yourself, that's romanticizing making your coffee. I cut some flowers from my garden and put them in a vase for me and no one else. I don't know. You can make things special for yourself, but like, what is $5 worth of water balloons the last day your kids come home from school and you ambush them? That's a memory a core memory they might have, and it took you 10 minutes and $5 of water balloons. And like, how can you do that for your employees? Someone who works with me, Colleen, she mentioned, oh, Rob, I love that record you have, but I saw that it's like a collector thing. It was like very expensive on Amazon. Her Christmas gift was that record. I like serving, and I like when someone gets sick, and I see it on Facebook. I like sending Panera, and just like, not maybe even they don't know it's me. I like feel goods. I like aligning all my stuff with feel goods. Like wholesaling's like something that's really important. I think it's a way for people to get in to running a business and that has low entry level. Being a realtor, you have to have a high school degree, but there's no barriers of entry for wholesaling. But a lot of people come from different backgrounds, in socioeconomic backgrounds for wholesaling. And so it was important for me with the OffMarket.deals, to create like a level playing field to get those deals disseminated. So it goes out with lending terms, it goes out with columns. We try to validate enrich their dialogue. So everything goes out with the end consumer, like, why would I want to buy that? Where's that located in proximity to things that I can place in my brain? Stuff like that. So I'm very big on empowering. And then there's people try to think they have to learn the whole business. Okay, we help you get the deal. We'll give you our data, and we're going to work with you to all that. And then, cool, you got the deal. And you had some objections. Cool. Talk to Rob's brain. It'll help handle your objections from the seller, so you can articulate the best way that works for both of you. We'll give plenty of options. Okay, cool. You got it under contract with an A to B, B to C, innovation contract, whatever we already gave you to keep you legally compliant. Okay, cool. Now you put it up on the website, submit it, goes out to our buyers list. So we blast it out, put it everywhere that you would have put it. And then we hopefully bring back the buyer. And, oh, cool. We get it under contract, get it to title. Colleen will handle contract to close. Go get it. All you deal with is motivated sellers. That's all you do every day, and get really good at that thing, and you're going to win. And that's where your system and ours, what I have with the property partners, it just aligns. And we could have come at each other, oh, I got to hold stuff back because we do similar stuff. But no, it's like, let's synergize. Let's work together. Let's go be at the top of the mountain together, because that's just where we want to go.
Yep.
I'd rather see something happen than not happen.
Right on. So, obviously you've got a lot of moving parts in your life, and I'm sure you make about 15 to 50 decisions a day, and you're human, so you don't get them all right. So what's a business call that you made that you look back on and go, man, I would love to have that one back? And how'd you manage your way through it?
Well, I have a bad acting business partner, and I've been in this for a long time. And reflecting on it, I think I could have known better because of this. I'm a realtor. I serve a lot of people, investors that do flips and burrs or whatever. So I knew it was good. I represented them. I saw the money they made on their HUDs, and I got a HELOC on my house because I did a slow burr. I lived and renovated my house, got a HELOC, and I own an off-market deal. So I get deals brought to me all the time. And I said, yeah, I've got this deal. I've got the down payment. We'll do a 50-50 partnership. You just manage it, and then they're going to Airbnb. Then we'll co-manage it together. They didn't have any money in the deal, and so my stuff just kept on going to the back burner, and they weren't doing anything, and then they just became a bad actor.
Yeah.
And I needed to have systems in place to be like, all right, I need to follow up in 2 weeks and say, what's new? All right, at 3 months, I need to do a site visit with them and already have that stuff approved and defined. I had a land trust and all this stuff, but it could have been defined better on what their relationships were. So I think getting ahead on the front end, talking to your best friend, Claude, co-pilot, co-work or whatever, and figure out the best way to make sure everything's just ironed out. So I guess when you think you know their character, but you're not their business partner, they were working for themselves. And I have other business partners where I had the same exact relationship and had completely different experiences that were good. Yep. You just don't know. But the best you can do is on the front end is work with a smart attorney and your ducks lined and join your local RIA and ask for advice and best practices. And it's okay to ask questions and learn and whatever.
Good. Absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt. I'm curious about how you take in information. What's the either physical or virtual book on your nightstand?
Yeah. So I'm ADD. Like I do a lot of Twitter, but I got rid of all the bullshit, if you will. I went to Claude and said, give me the best follows for data centers. Give me the best follows for real estate and the best data, whatever, because I need really great information to populate really good newsletters every day. I feel like a responsibility to lead with value or put something out there for people to think on. And so I did that with all my social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, or subreddits, everything. And so I'm just hit with a lot of that stuff. That being said, I feel like that's eating chips a lot of times. I still get sucked into the repetition and all that.
Sure.
And I like sports, so I just whatever. So I have that in there too. But I realized I need less chips and more steak, which is these more heartier books.
Yeah.
Most recently, I've been reading Count of Monte Cristo, this book called Wan's Way. It was crazy. And then this morning, I was reading Ben Franklin. And then I'll go out into the hammock and sun and I'll bring Walt Whitman's book about like when he traveled America. And then sometimes when I want to feel so philosophical, I'll read Walden, where he lived alone in the woods in a cabin by the water and just thought. And I don't know, I'm trying to stretch myself and chew on those things. I don't even make much progress in any of these books. I've got Siddhartha sitting out I'm like, what am I going to gravitate to? What do I need to hear? And I like it and I highlight and I keep on having this weird thought, but I'm excited to think that after I die, someone is going to get my books and they're going to read through and be like, why did this strange person highlight this thing? And something about that is very comforting to me. I don't know why.
Trying to unlock Rob's brain, right?
A little bit, yeah. Or a peek into whoever this stranger was before me really valued this thing. Like, why?
Yeah, that's very cool. How do you define success in your life?
For me, a lot of it was like, I just need to get those families one house a month. That will be a success once I hit that. But I'd like to think I'll get there quicker and I'll have to create other means for success. And so for me, I'm big on shooting a shot, but I just create. Like I might write 3 songs and throw them up on YouTube one day. I might knock out 4 of my morning newsletters because I was just on a roll, feeling great. I might come up with a business model and talk to Claude about it for 3 hours and then just have it sitting on my computer. Maybe I'll revisit it. And that's where I have ideas. So when I talk to people and they have something, I can be like, oh, look, I built out this franchise model for Airbnbs like 10 years ago. And it's really, since ADD, Rob, is very scattered brain, the AI makes it all linear. And so people are like, oh, I get it now. This makes sense. And so that's been really valuable for me because I don't maybe connect the dots for everyone on everything, but now if I just word vomit, it's there.
Yeah. So there's a tool, just to get a little geeky on you, called Obsidian.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with it?
No.
So it's something you can connect to Claude. And it's also an ADD brain here, ADHD. And one of the things that I asked my college roommate years ago, I said, what's it like to have a conversation with me? He goes, here's what it's like. We can be talking about something going on in our lives, our wives or our kids, and you'll see something shiny or think of something in your head. And you'll be like, hey, did you hear about this? We got to go. Let's go. You want to go ride bikes? He goes, Ed, it's maddening having a conversation with you, right? And what this tool has done for me, and I'm very forthright with my relationship with Claude and said, hey, look, I've got ADHD. Part of your job in my world is to keep me on the rails so I can get the 3 or 4 things done I need to get done. But also I want you to capture all the other stuff and help me make sense of it, right? And so Obsidian is basically a cloud. It's a thought cloud. It's basically a technology that organizes all of that. So if you can walk through and go, I was talking about, I'll use your example of franchise. 6 weeks ago, I was talking with this guy about a franchise, and I know I captured it here in Claude because I remember having that conversation with you. Can you bring that back? And how does that tie in with the other things I'm doing here and here? And it will make those connections. That's and then awesome. Lay it. It's amazing. Just because I'm a notorious brainstormer, right? I'd wake up at 3:00 and go, I just had this dream and I want to talk about this and I want to look into this a little further and I got an idea about that and so on and so forth. And it just organizes everything. It's amazing. I'll send you the link to it. It's really, your geeky guys can help you with it. And it's a 5-minute connection. It's easy.
Hell yeah. We don't use a little more function in our life.
Yeah. It's not even function. It's just, it's a place to dump it all. And then when you want to recall it, you don't have to sit there and go, so I'm in my 50s, right? So I don't remember quite as well as you do. But it allows me to not lose all of those things, right? Where normally I would have a notebook or something that I would trail along. And if it was in the notebook that I had in my hands, I'd remember. And if it was the one 6 notebooks ago, I had to go hunting for it. And sometimes I found it and sometimes I didn't.
Wow. That's
problem solved. Yeah. So when you're not talking about real estate or all of your other ventures, what else do you like to do for fun?
Like I said, I write music quite a bit. I'm reading a lot, sunning a lot. I think with my morning newsletter too, is I talk about whatever's interesting to me or curious. And then that resonates with people. And so a lot of my friends have come from me just saying weird stuff. I'm like, oh, I listen to that band. And we were at the same show back in 2020 and we didn't know it or whatever. And so those people are bringing curious people are interesting, right? And so like all the curious people have all these weird curiosities that they bring back to me. And that's your tribe. If you're curious, that's why you build. I don't know. I think it's hard to make friends sometimes. And so just maybe if you are like, my newsletter is getting a really cool place to put out me and whatever, and let people decide if they want to be a part of it. And I think if you guys did that on your social media platforms, maybe about that weird thing you're excited about, like if you found one other person that was excited about it, it could be huge for you to nerd out and build. And now you have Claude, so we can create for days. And I don't know, we all bring different skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Rob, if somebody wants to learn more about you or your newsletter or anything else that you're doing, what's the best way to do that?
All right, guys, go follow my newsletter if you'd like. It's called the Morning Bergeron. It's BERGERON. If you're looking for off-market deals, like assignable contracts or whatever, go to OffMarket.deals or Google OffMarket.deals. That's us. And join our buyers list. And we have great plugs for like insurance and like my CPA. I give all my agents my CPA. I get paid nothing for it. And he just saved me so much money on taxes. So now I just say, hey, I know tax season's here. Hit me up. I send them in 2 days. I send them 120 referrals. They're in Bardstown, Kentucky, where all the bourbon's at. And they had to open an office in Louisville because I sent them so many clients.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and all those people are saving money, and I'm not making any money on it, but I'm happy they are. There's money in their pocket they can invest.
Again, help enough people where they want to go, they'll help you get where you want to go. That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Rob Bergeron, thank you so much for your time today. This has been the Real Estate Underground. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us grow. Until next time, Undergrounders, remember your real estate journey begins with a simple step forward. Now get to it. Bye for now.